On this day in Tudor history, the 7th of November 1565, Sir Edward Warner, soldier, Member of Parliament and twice Lieutenant of the Tower of London, died in Norfolk. He was a man who'd served 4 monarchs, guarded queens and rebels alike, and somehow survived the shifting loyalties of Tudor politics. Today we're uncovering the story of this often overlooked Tudor official, a man who stood at the centre of some of the most dangerous moments in English history. Edward Warner was born in 1511, the eldest son of Henry Warner of Besthorpe in Norfolk and Mary Blennerhassett. His family were landed gentry, loyal, well-connected and ambitious. By the 1540s, Edward was already prospering from the great Tudor land grab, the dissolution of the monasteries. He was active in buying and selling former monastic property, including the Carmelite Friary at Burnham, which he purchased in 1541 alongside George Brooke, 9th Lord Cobham, his future brother-in-law. Warner's marriage only strengthened those elite ties. In 1542, he married Elizabeth Brooke, daughter of Thomas Brooke, 8th Baron Cobham, and widow of the famous poet and diplomat Sir Thomas Wyatt the Elder. Yes, that Wyatt, whose son would later lead the rebellion against Mary I. Edward and Elizabeth had 3 sons together, though heartbreakingly, none survived childhood. After Elizabeth's death, he married Audrey Hare, widow of Thomas Hobart of Plumstead and daughter of William Hare of Beeston, once again binding himself to Norfolk's powerful families. Warner was no mere gentleman farmer. He was a soldier and courtier. By 1537, he was serving in Henry VIII's household, and by 1545 he held the title of sewer, a trusted servant responsible for royal dining. In 1552, he was recorded as Esquire of the Body, one of the men who attended directly on the king. His military service was equally distinguished. He fought in Flanders and Scotland, and in 1544, during the campaign that saw the burning of Edinburgh, he was knighted by Edward Seymour, Earl of Hertford, the future Duke of Somerset. A few years later, in 1549, Warner was back home defending Norwich during Kett's rebellion, when thousands of Norfolk men rose up over enclosure and economic hardship. In 1552, Warner's loyalty earned him one of the most important and dangerous positions in the kingdom, Lieutenant of the Tower of London. But his timing couldn't have been worse. When Edward VI died in 1553, Warner held the tower for Queen Jane and John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland. When Mary Tudor seized the throne, he paid the price. She removed him from office, and when Wyatt's rebellion broke out in January 1554, Warner himself was arrested and taken to the tower that he'd once commanded. It must have been a bitter reversal, from jailer to prisoner. He was released a year later, pardoned in July 1555, and allowed to rebuild his career. Fate turned again with Elizabeth I's succession in 1558. The new queen restored Warner to his former role as Lieutenant of the Tower, a post requiring both firmness and tact. He soon had some very high-profile prisoners. One of them was Lady Katherine Grey, sister of the ill-fated Lady Jane Grey. Catherine had secretly married Edward Seymour, Earl of Hertford, without royal permission. As her jailer, Warner was responsible for her, but also, it seems, a little too lenient. Catherine managed to conceive not once, but twice while imprisoned in the Tower. The scandal was enormous, and Warner was blamed for allowing it. He was dismissed from his post and even imprisoned himself for a time. It seems he was more compassionate than cautious, a dangerous quality at a Tudor court. Despite his setbacks, Warner remained respected. He served in Parliament for Grantham, Great Grimsby, and later his home county of Norfolk, proving himself a capable public servant as well as a soldier and courtier. By the mid-1560s, he'd retired to his Norfolk estates, and on the 7th of November 1565, at the age of 54, Sir Edward Warner died and was laid to rest at Little Plumstead Church. Sir Edward Warner's life reads like a miniature of the Tudor age itself, full of ambition, danger, loyalty and reversal. He fought rebels, guarded traitors, served kings and queens, and still found himself both prisoner and jailer in turn. In an age where one wrong allegiance could mean the block, Warner managed to survive. If you've enjoyed this video on a little known Tudor survivor, please do like it, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell, and consider becoming one of my special channel members for lots of Tudor goodies. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.